Let me guess. You're out of the relationship right now, or maybe you're trying to be out of the relationship, and people around you keep saying things like, you're better off without him, you should be happy now. But deep down inside of you, you're not happy. And you're not even close to being okay. You feel anxious all the time. You cannot even explain why. You second guess yourself constantly. And even over small things that have nothing to do with him. You reply old messages in your head at 2 in the morning, looking for where everything went wrong. You feel like you lost the version of yourself somewhere in the relationship. And you have no idea how to find yourself or how to find her again. And maybe the scariest part is that you are starting to wonder if this is just who you are, if something in you got permanently broken. I need you to hear this. Nothing is permanently broken, but something real did happen to you. And today, I want to talk about what that thing actually is in a plain language. Because understanding it is the first step to getting yourself back. Stay with me. Think about what it feels like to live with someone who constantly, even subtly makes you feel like you're not quite right. Maybe it was not always loud or obvious. Maybe it was just a look when you say something. Maybe it was a small comment about the way you dressed, the way you spoke, or the way you handled something. Being told that your feelings were just too much. Being made to feel like your reactions were always slightly off. Now imagine living with that for months, even years in some cases. What happens is that your brain starts doing the job he was doing. You start criticizing yourself before he even had the chance to. You start monitoring everything you say and do. You become hyper aware of how you come across because somewhere along the way, you learned that getting it wrong had consequences. This is why so many women comes out of this kind of relationship with anxiety that feels completely out of proportion in their current life. The relationship is over, but the habit your brain built by being constantly on guard, constantly watching for what might go wrong, that does not just switch off when you leave the relationship. Your brain still does that job it learned so that it will keep you safe. The anxiety you're feeling is not a personality flaw. It is a survival habit, and survival habits cannot be unlearned. Here is something that does not get talked about enough. When someone spends a long time making you doubt your own memory, your perception, your own version of events, what they're actually doing is dismantling your ability to trust yourself. And self-trust is everything. It is the foundation of every decision you make. You know, what job to take, what friendship to invest in, whether to speak up or stay quiet, whether to trust someone new. All of that requires you to trust your own instinct and judgment. Someone systematically teaches you that your instincts were wrong or your judgment were off. You end up in this paralyzing place. You cannot even make your own decision without spiraling into doubt. You ask everyone else what they think. You second guess yourself over and over, and you feel like you cannot trust your own gut anymore. This is not you being weak. This is a direct result of being with someone who needed you to doubt yourself so that you keep coming back to him for the version of reality he wanted you to believe. The good news is that self-trust is something that you can rebuild. It comes back slowly, but it does come back. Can we talk about replaying for a minute? Because I know of so many women who have been out of a relationship for months or even years, and they're still going over it in their heads, still picking up old conversation or picking through old conversation, still asking themselves what they did wrong, what they missed, what they could have done differently, or what they should have said. There's a reason for this, and it is not because you're obsessive or that you cannot let go. When something traumatic, confusing happens to us, our brain tries to make sense out of it. That is actually what the brain is supposed to do. It goes over events, looking for the lessons, looking for the patterns, looking for the things that will help it make sure that this doesn't happen again. The problem with these relationships is that they do not make sense. The behavior was contradictory. The explanations never quite added up. The person you thought you knew turned out to be someone very different. And your brain cannot file that away neatly because there's no neat explanation for it. So it keeps going back, it keeps looking, keeps turning it over, trying to find the answer that is going to make it all make sense. You are not obsessing. Your brain is trying to protect you. But at some point, the most healing thing you can do is gently tell it that it has the answers it needs now. He was not who you thought he was, and that is enough. Now, there's this part that breaks my heart the most when women talk about it. You stopped liking yourself. In that relationship, the way you saw yourself changed. You used to have some self-confidence, some sense of who you were, what you were what, and slowly, without really noticing, that eroded. Because when someone who was supposed to love you starts to treat you like you are too much, like you are not enough, or like you're difficult or unreasonable for long enough, some part of us start to believe it. Not because you're gullible, but because we are all wired to take in the message of the people closest to us. That is just how humans work. And now you're out of the relationship, but you're still carrying a weight that was never yours to carry in the first place. You're walking around with his opinion of you living in your head, shaping how you talk to yourself, how you present yourself, what you think you deserve. Getting rid of that voice is some of your most important work of your healing because that voice is a lie. It's always was. What do you do with all of this? The first thing, and I cannot stress this enough, is that you should stop expecting yourself to just get over it already. What happened to you was real. It took time to get in and it will take time to get out. Giving yourself permission to still be in the middle of it without judging yourself for it is not giving up. It is being honest with yourself in a way that a lot of people around you might not really understand. The second thing is that you start paying attention to how you talk to yourself, not in a forced positive thinking way, just noticing. Every time you catch yourself saying something harsh to yourself, ask where that voice came from because I can almost guarantee you that it did not start with you. And the third thing is that you should stop trying to make sense of him and start making sense of yourself. What do you actually feel? What do you actually need? What does the version of you that existed before him want for her life? She is still there. She has been waiting for you to come back to her. Now, if you're watching this video and feeling seen right now, I am really glad you found this video because so many women go through exactly what I described today and they spend years thinking that there's something fundamentally wrong with them, that they are too anxious, too damaged, and too broken to ever feel normal again. You are not broken. You are someone who went through something genuinely hard and your mind and body responded to it the way it is supposed to respond to it. You protected yourself the best way you know how to. And now that you're here watching this, trying to understand it, this is not broken. This is brave. Tell me in the comment how long it took you to realize that what you were feeling after the relationship ended was connected to what happened inside of it. Because I think a lot of women watching this are only just making the connections, and I want them to know that they are not alone. Share this video with someone who is still struggling right now and cannot figure out why she still feels so off, even though the relationship is over. This might be exactly what she needed to hear right now. Get subscribed and I'll be back next week with more. You are doing better than you think and you are going to be completely okay.